Hello, hello. It is day 90 of 365 days of my raw suspending disbelief journey. It is July 21st, 2024, and oh my goodness, I have definitely, um, it's been an imbalanced day. It has not been a balanced day, but it was intentional. So, I knew that coming up on our Spiral of the Rose launch tomorrow morning, um, that there was still some final edits to do, some final scheduling to do. And I apologize that I'm still coughing. Seriously, the smoke, it was like I got better for 5 seconds, and then the smoke has made it so much worse. So anyway, I knew that there was lots to do still, and that Jess is not, like, she doesn't have a ton of experience with editing podcasts or doing any of like the scheduling or any of that. So she has other responsibilities, and Kelly and I are working on that stuff. And I knew that Kelly was getting ready to also leave to go camping. So I was like, this is my focus for the day. I'm going to put, we'll all have our times where we're the one that's sort of like holding up the tripod, right? But I knew that today was my turn. So I intentionally chose, like, I knew that it was going to be like that. I allowed a little bit of extra screen time, for the kids, and it was a little bit less smoky today. So sort of later on in the afternoon, evening, I was like, Kate, it's insanely hot. Like, let's get outside for a little bit and, cool off in the pool and all of that. And then actually when we went out, it was like, oh, the water's kind of icky. Like, it wasn't too bad, like, in the actual pool itself, but they have like a water table in the backyard that had gone completely green with algae. I couldn't believe it. In like a couple of days that we've stayed inside, and not been out because it was so smoky. And normally, like, I will say that even with the smoke, we would have gone out a little bit, but we've all just been recovering from like these awful coughs, and adding the smoke to it was just like, this is not going to happen. So, anyways, yeah, we went out, and just with the heat, it turned like their little water table completely, like it was like a thick green algae on it. It was unreal. And I mean, I literally normally in the summertime clean that out probably more than once a week, just because it does get build up, right? And it gets gross, but I've never seen it like that. And it happened so quickly. I only did that a couple of days ago, that I sort of like cleaned it out and refreshed and put fresh water in and everything. And it was just really gross. So I ended up spending a little bit longer outside than I had intended, just because I was like, I'm cleaning this up. This is so disgusting. And it's also the dog's water dish when they're outside, right? Like, that's the water table is where he always goes to drink. So I was like, you obviously have not been able to drink outside, so that really sucks, especially in this heat. He's like the messiest drinker in the world. He like dips half his face in the water and then just walks away and is like spilling water everywhere. And I know like certain breeds of dog just are like that. I don't know if it's this breed or what, but oh my goodness, it's such a mess. And he's a mixed breed, so I don't know which breed it is that does that, but it's gross. Um, anyway, so I love having obviously water for him outside to drink, so that he's drinking less inside and making less mess inside the house. Not that I don't put out any water for him inside either, right? But yeah, that was really disgusting. And like, we have like a bird water dish that hangs, and I was like, I'm gonna clean that out too. That one wasn't actually too bad because Cadence had refreshed that and added more birdseed in their food dish and things like that. But I just decided, this is kind of icky, and I watered everything, and which honestly, just a couple of days of not going outside, really, um, a lot of my plants are dead. So that really sucks. Um, but in this heat, it was just like they just didn't make it. Um, I'm laughing, but I'm frustrated, right? I was like, they were growing so good. There's a few that are still holding on, and I'm gonna try to be more actively watering them, smoke or no smoke. Um, but yeah, just a couple of days, and it really was like the whole yard just went to shit, right? So I was like, okay. So I did spend a chunk of time on that. But aside from that, it was like everything just about was about the Spiral of the Rose podcast today. Um, there's been, so many synchronicities just pointing to like we are so on track here. This is perfect. This is exactly when it should be, all of that. But there's also been some what I would call like pre-Mercury retrograde energy. So like the couple of weeks before and the couple of weeks after Mercury retrograde are like the window um, of time that for some people it's actually worse than the actual Mercury retrograde. And I swear that's always been me. So the actual time during Mercury retrograde is not too bad for me, but the 2 weeks before and the 2 weeks after tend to be tough. So especially with tech. And internet and things like that. So I've already been feeling those effects, even though we're a couple weeks out. And so some of the things just took longer than they necessarily would normally. But I was determined and I was not going to let up. I was very relentless with it, right? This was happening. It's launching in the morning and nothing was going to stop that from happening. If I had to leave the house and go somewhere else with internet or use a public library computer, like I would have done it. I would have done it today. It was just like, this is happening. So um, and a total just like, nope, no matter what, there's not like, I didn't get frustrated with any of it. It was just a complete suspension of disbelief. Like, this is happening. There's nothing that's going to stop this. Like, go ahead, Mercury retrograde. Like, keep throwing it at me. I don't care. I'm not stopping. You're not, you're not stopping me. So, yeah, that was kind of my day. It was just, um, it was really good. It was really hot. And just really muggy and icky inside. And it really sucks not being able to open the windows all night to let it cool down in here every day. Because of the smoke, it just like will wake up just hacking and coughing and feeling so gross. So I haven't been opening the windows. I might tonight just because it did get a little bit less smoky. It was a little bit more clear. So I might just because it's become like unbearably muggy and hot inside the house. It's actually hotter than it is outside most of the time. And since we can't leave it and get that fresh air, yeah, it's really tempting. So I'm kind of, just trying to do the best with kids that just got over lung related illness and myself with lung related illness and having now all of this smoke come in and add its oomph to the heat, and really, really, really wishing that the air conditioner had a filter for smoke from outside so that we could be running it more. I tend to run it when we're not in the room and then turn it off when we are in the room because then the air in the room has cooled down, but the smoke isn't being like blasted right at us. And I actually, because it was just me in there last night, the younger two went down and slept in Cadence's room, and it's a little bit cooler down there, so they were okay with just a fan. And I was like, it's just me. I'm going to leave the thing going all night. And I laid down and the air conditioner was running and I started coughing so hard and hacking and gagging and, almost throwing up. And it was just like, holy, this is awful. Because I was like better, right? I was doing so much better. So I'm just like, this is 100% the smoke and it's so gross. And so I ended up having to turn it off. It was really hot in there. Just not the greatest sleeps the last little while. And yeah, but still feeling that like 100% things are exactly how they're meant to be. And I am enjoying every minute of it, even with the, even with the heat, even with the smoke, everything is just like, it's so amazing and so good and so exciting, and like nothing. There's so many things, even not my things, like even, Kelly's book is coming out in physical format. And this is the beauty, is like, today was the Capricorn full moon, and this full moon is like specifically about bringing manifestations into the physical reality. And it is intense how many of them are coming to fruition right now, like very intense. So it's like Kelly's got her book launch. We've got the Spiral of the Rose podcast launch. Like I was saying, I've got all these layers of other things that I'm sort of launching all at once in sort of staggered pieces over the next month and a half, and it's just so many things are coming into form, and even my meditation album finally coming into like completion, even though for the most part that won't be like a physical thing, or at least not yet. That will just be a digital thing, but it's still being manifested into this reality sort of right around the same time. Like everything just feels like it's coming to a head right now in a really, really good way. So my success is not only inevitable, but it is here. I barely said inevitable. It's here, and it is amazing. And I'm just I'm riding the high, sort of, right? It's absolutely incredible. I'm trusting, I'm suspending disbelief that it is staying this way, that everything is going to continue on this track. And that's not to say that there won't be, rough days or whatever, but everything is getting better. Everything is improving in all fronts, and just feels really, really incredible. So also having disconnected energetically from some of the sources that were causing a lot of the madness and mayhem in my life over the last few months. So, and yeah, doing that sort of like grief healing and everything the first week of July, it was just, there was a lot of, when those things were processed, things just started moving really, really fast after that. So, and I know that it's not just me. I know that it was very similar energies for a lot of people that I've talked to online. It's been like the end of June, beginning of July was rough. There was a lot of emotional processing going on for a lot of people. And then the last couple of weeks have been action and movement and everything just building up towards this sort of crescendo, which is around this full moon where things are really coming into the physical, where those manifestations are, we're aligning so completely with our manifestations that are in our vortex, like I was talking about the other day, right? It's like they're just ready to pour in, and one by one they're sort of popping in the door, and it's just so exciting, so incredible. There's so much to celebrate constantly, for myself and for the other women in my world, and it's just, yeah, it's really, really incredible. So that is what I have for you guys today. I hope that you are still suspending disbelief with me. I hope that you are, even if you've gotten behind on listening, or you've gotten behind on reading the blogs that Kelly puts up, or, any of those pieces, I really hope that you are still on board, that, even if you've slipped for a few days or whatever, and there's been several times where I have gotten behind by a few days and I've had to record several days worth in a row, or things like that. And it happens to all of us, and life has its ups and downs, but I hope that you haven't given up, and I hope that you're still suspending disbelief, because this is really a magical and powerful journey, and it's so worth it. It is so worth it. And if you're not taking the time to reflect on it on a daily basis, try to do that, because when you're reflecting, it just is really powerful to see the shifts, to really notice the things that are changing and how quickly they're changing. And looking in retrospect, right, 90 days is nothing. 90 days is 3 months. 3 months to completely change the trajectory of where I was at before. So, really looking forward to what the rest of this year brings. So, yeah, I will talk to you all tomorrow.